Can't even hear.
All right, everybody's quiet. All right, it is 5 o'clock. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. We will go through our agenda, get ready for next week's council meeting, and there may be a couple of additions too. We will have a proclamation for Decatur High School tennis team, and then we'll move into minutes. Any questions on minutes? Monthly bills, approve April 23 monthly bills. All right, appeal, resolution 23-140, Decatur Morgan EMS appeal.
All right, this is an appeal from Decatur Morgan was cited for having 85% fractal response time in the fourth quarter of last year in the PJ. They appealed it to the ARB. They upheld it and they've appealed here. When it comes up, your options will be to uphold it, overturn it completely, or reduce it. It's up to y'all.
Now, but the way it's assessed, the points are applied regardless.
Correct.
We can't overturn the points, only the financial penalty.
Just the financial penalty. Now, as a practical matter, y'all have overturned the points in the past, but the ordinance does not allow that. And so that would be our position still, again, that you can't overturn the points, but y'all get the last vote, and you did it one time before. So,
Okay.
Did they have any? Somebody help me. What's what I'm looking for? Different, I guess, appeals of the time recorded time.
like time exceptions.
Thank you.
They had a couple of them. I think the things that, without speaking their piece for them, it's in the PJ, so there's a small number, and one or two misses can have a bigger impact. They had some staffing shortages, and I think over the course of the quarter, what they argued at ARB was that six calls were the difference in the 85 and the 90.
Remind me, and this may be a harder question, but when we had the previous ambulance provider, did the council ever uphold a fine on them?
Don't think so.
We did not.
We did not.
Well, any council.
No, well, we didn't have them
Right.
until the ARB came in. That's the
Which
first
was
time.
with the previous council.
Right, but I don't recall one being upheld. I'm not sure that one got to them, but I know none were upheld.
Okay.
Would you? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Chief, I don't mean to call you out. Would you say that Decatur Morgan is performing relatively very well in the city?
Decatur Morgan has done a good job. They are trying to do a good job. If we have problems that we go to them, they are trying to address those problems and fix those problems. I would say yes, they've been doing a good job.
Chief,
And I don't disagree with that either.
You mentioned, and I can't believe I'm about to say this after we put so much time into it that first year, that there would still be some changes you would like to see in the ambulance ordinance? Or did I dream that?
I might can answer that. Chris has given me 8 or 10 tweaks he would like to make in the ordinance, some things that Decatur Morgan and he have worked out that might make it work better, and we're working on putting those in.
Would those have had an impact on this response time?
I don't think so.
But they did speak at the ARB meeting about some proactive measures they've taken.
Right.
Yeah, they've
address
they've
these.
shifted people around and have added staff.
I just want to add to that. Staffing in EMS right now is very limited. So I mean, there's multiple agencies in Alabama that are experiencing severe staffing shortages right now. So we're lucky to be able to have as many as we do here in the city of Decatur. When we have a county over where their entire services the entire county, which has got a population of more than 100,000 plus than what our entire county has, and they're experiencing severe shortages right now. So we need to be very grateful for what we do have.
We also have a meeting set up with Decatur Morgan later on this month to try to see if it's anything else we can do to make the ordinance better coming from their side.
Okay. And we had those with the previous.
We had those with, yeah.
Two. All right, any other questions? All right, thanks, guys. Resolution 23-119, approved request for special use permit for Tillman Infrastructures LLC to construct a new wireless telecommunication tower for AT&T at Runnymede Avenue Southwest.
Good afternoon, President, Council, Mayor. David Andrews with CMS. Tillman Infrastructure has requested that this go back on the agenda. They've sent new public notices, so there will be a public hearing associated with this resolution per the ordinance. Just to give you a reminder, it's at Runnymede there at the Beltline adjacent to the church, and it's on the property where the substation, electrical substation's at. It's going to be a 125-foot monopole tower. It'll actually be total height of 127 feet because it'll have a 2-foot lightning rod on top of the tower. Tillman is still working through the SHPO issues for the State Historical Preservation Office, and even if you permit the tower, they'll still be required to abide by whatever SHPO requires them to do. But they're okay with that, and they're asking to move forward with the resolution.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-120, approve MUB expenditure of $16,724,650 for sewer pipe rehab, pipe burst method contract B. And I'll go ahead with the next one, resolution 23-121, approve MUB expenditure of $530,926 for FY23 boring and trenching contract.
Thank you, Mr. Ladner, Mayor, Council. Jimmy Evans, Decatur Utilities. The first expenditure request is for the replacement of 138,000 feet of sewer main in the collection system. This is part of our ongoing efforts to replace the clay lines in the sewer system. We will also replace 2,800 services with this project. We opened bids on this project on April the 6th. We had 3 responsive bidders, and we will recommend going with Vortex Services out of Houston, Texas.
All right, any questions? Vortex did the first.
Yes, they've done
as well.
2 other contracts. They're working on one for us now. Doing a really good job.
All right, next one.
And then the next one is for annual boring and trenching contract. This is to furnish labor, materials, tools to do all the underground gas, water, wastewater, and electric work for Decatur Utilities. We had 2 responsive bidders. We opened bids on April 13th, and we will recommend awarding this bid to Harmer Contracting.
All right, any questions? Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, resolution 23-122, approve payment for permit renewal of Decatur Morgan Regional Landfill number 5203.
Good evening, Wanda Tyler, Landfill and Recycling. So it's time for us to get a new permit from ADEM. Our current permit expires December of this year. Purite McAnally is processing the application, and we need to have your approval for the issuance of a check to ADEM for $37,270.
All right, any questions? All right, and then resolution 23-123, approved proposal from TTL to provide construction quality assurance services for geosynthetic destructive testing for Cell 16 construction project at the Decatur Morgan County Regional Landfill.
So I know you guys have been hearing about Cell 16 for a while. We're close. We're getting close. They finished the second lift today of the clay liner. We got 2 more lifts. Then we have the synthetics. Everything's been delivered. We're just waiting for the weather to just give us, you know, like a pretty day like today. So hopefully in the next 3 weeks, we will have the clay done, and by mid-June, we'll be in, well, by mid-June, we'll be done with the construction. Then we'll call the state to certify us so we can put garbage in it, because we're needed. So this is, me saying all that, we also have to have a engineering firm to test, just to make sure everything is up to par in regards to the synthetics. And this proposal is with, I'm sorry, TTL, if I can get the amount, for $7,361. And so we need your approval in regards to that proposal.
All right, any questions?
I'm assuming D&E will come out of the landfill count.
It's good news about getting open.
Yeah.
So somewhat soon. So.
Yes, because we've added a few new customers. So
Yeah, that's good too. Any other questions? All right, resolution 23-124, accept ADEM grant for recycling education.
So yeah, I was very happily surprised to get a $50,000 grant from ADEM in regards to our recycling program. This is geared towards improving our education, because really, mostly what we do is through Facebook. So this gives an opportunity to widen our horizons in regards to education, whether it's going out to neighborhood associations, providing more material, or maybe an ad or some sort of radio spot.
That's no match.
It's a no-match grant,
Good.
yes.
Any questions? Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Resolution 23-125, approve ALDOT 5310 grant application.
It's Alan Stover, Community Development Manager with the city. This is a grant that will run through NARCOG, and it would allow us to apply to purchase a passenger van bus for the therapeutics program. So we're just asking that y'all allow us to make application for this grant.
Any questions?
$20,000 match.
Yes, sir.
$20,000.
All right, and then the next two, resolution 23-126, authorize Paleo West to conduct mapping survey at Garth Cemetery, and resolution 23-127, authorize Paleo West to complete mapping at Sykes Cemetery. And I'm the reason these are on here, I guess.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Caroline Swope, Community Development. So the Garth Cemetery is one that Council Chair Ladner had asked me to pull together a package on what it would take to document the cemetery. And for Sykes Cemetery, that is to continue the work with some additional ground penetrating radar to more formally define some of the boundaries beyond what we have found thus far.
And I can add a little color too. I think everybody knows Phil Wyrie has done a lot of work at Garth. He's done some surveying, I guess, himself, but want to look at trying to, really at the end is the monuments need some work. And I think the founder of Decatur is buried in the Garth Cemetery. And so I think it's important to try to do that. This is kind of the first step to get towards that. Eventually we would need to take ownership of the property as well, which I think we've kind of tried to do that in the past, but we'll need to try that again. But anything else to add?
Does Phil know who the owner is?
Yeah, we know who the owner is. It's a family, I think in Florida or something.
Yeah, well, Ruth's working on that. You have anything you want to add at this point?
I think it may be a little more extensive than what was initially thought. There may be additional family members that we don't know their whereabouts or whether they're still living. So I'm in the process of trying to track down who may be still out there.
Who can make the decision? Because I think in the past, the family has said they would basically give us that section of the property.
It'll involve subdividing it off because it's
Yeah.
a 20-acre tract. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the whole tract. This, of course, cemetery is much smaller.
Yeah. And need some access to the cemetery too. All right, any questions? Thanks, Caroline. Resolution 23-128, approve supplemental agreement number 1, A-Trip 252-2023-176 Sandlin Road and Central Parkway. And I'll add one thing on the last one. Phil will be here next week and can answer any questions. So, sorry, go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I guess with the construction up there at Sandlin Road and the belt line, they found a couple of items that needed to be added, so this is a supplemental agreement to move forward with that project.
5,000.
Yeah, 5,500, 5,400 some change.
All right, any questions?
What's it for?
It's some type of cabling. I'm assuming it has to do with the traffic signals. Talked about a conflict box and some SDLC cables.
I'll ask her.
I was actually told that Stephanie knew.
Yeah, that's right. I'm hoping somebody can tell us what those were.
I would assume that has to do with the traffic
When I first
signals.
heard about it from Bain, what do you think about these cables? I said, I have no idea. We'll ask tonight and find out what these cables are. Now we know. It's SDLC cables. Nobody knows what they're for. But we gotta have them.
All right, any other questions?
Maybe Carlton will put them in his musings tonight. We'll know what they are.
Google.
Probably not.
Google.
I'm gonna stick.
Full report.
All right, resolution 23-129, approved Champion Auto Bore Sewer contract between the city of Decatur and Decatur Utilities.
Yeah, this is their basic contract with us putting in the sewer. They're wanting to make sure that we're gonna warranty our construction for 1 year before they take it over.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-130, award bid number 23016 for litter fencing to Southwestern Sales Company.
Jeremy Sherrill, procurement agent with the city. This is for some litter fencing for the landfill. We sent this out for requested 3 bids. We got 2 responses, and we're recommending Southwestern Sales as the lowest responsible bidder.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-131, award bid number 23017 for LED Christmas light wrapping for Second Avenue trees to Lights of Christmas, being the sole respondent.
Yes, partnered with Kelly Thomas with Decatur Downtown. This is going to be purchase, installation, takedown, and storage for the first year of Christmas lights for 37 trees from Gordon Street down to City Hall there. This was sent out to 5 potential bidders, and we received 1 response from Lights of Christmas.
All right, any questions?
So I guess I'd heard some discussion to where it was maybe hopeful that they would stay up year round.
There was some discussion. I think some of the power supply, getting some of that stuff out of the way. Personally, what I think was we'll probably look at it this year and then revisit it next year if we want to leave them up year round. You have to do a different light. They have to be able to stretch, to expand and grow with the tree if you leave them up year round. I don't believe these lights are those.
Elastic.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one, and I think some consultation with Parks and Rec was not recommended this year to do that.
Right.
Okay.
So I think kind of a trial, look at it and go from there.
You know, we're just doing the trunk of the tree, or are you doing the limbs?
The whole tree.
Okay.
I will say I know Carlton would be in favor of leaving it up year round because he still has a wreath on his house.
It's been up there for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Well, as long as they're not LED rope lights.
Yeah, as long as we're not talking about LED rope lights, because we're about to ban those.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's something we can discuss.
Thank you.
And I did want to point out, just with the power, I think the Kelly and this person, Trees, Lights of Christmas or whatever, has been working with Parks and Rec on making sure it'll work. So, and I guess that would be Kurt, Jason. Okay.
Yeah, I think they identified only a few trees along Second Avenue that they couldn't get to, so
Yeah.
should be a lot.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-132, declare surplus of vehicles no longer needed by the police department.
This is a resolution for 2 Camaros that were part of a drug seizure. Proceeds from the sale will go back into the drug seizure fund for that use.
All right, any questions? Somebody's gonna ask how much they are.
I think Hunter's car shopping.
You got jokes.
All right.
Bad.
This is going downhill.
It is, quickly.
Resolution 23-134, approve Verizon providing a short-term communication facility at Point Mallard Park.
Yes, sir. This resolution will allow the mayor to execute a contract with Verizon Wireless to place a CAL, or a cell on wheels unit, at Point Mallard Park. Verizon has had capacity issues during the Jubilee and the Spirit of America celebration in the past, and this site will basically take care of the capacity issues. In the past, you've had good service there, you just couldn't use your phone because there was too many users in one spot. With this site, will alleviate that problem. It'll basically be a self-contained truck with a tower on top, like a pole mast on top, and it'll drive in, it'll have all the equipment enclosed, so they won't be hooking up to any power or anything like that. They'll have it in place before the Memorial Day weekend, and they'll keep it at that spot until after July the 4th.
All right, any questions? Good. All right, Resolution 23-135, approve FY23 mid-year budget adjustments.
All right. Kyle Demeester, Finance Department. So this is an annual thing. We kind of go over the financial position of the city here at mid-year. Everyone's got a copy of the report I put together, and then I have it here on the screen. I'll kind of run through it quickly, just kind of give you the skinny as to everything going on from our perspective in finance. You can go ahead. So the first page is just kind of talk about some of the progress we've made. Wanted to quickly point out, we've made some intelligent financial decisions for the city, and we're dedicated to bringing exceptional service and quality of life benefits to the citizens of Decatur. And we can do all these things because of the city's financial position. So a couple of the key developments we've passed here in the last 6 months, include the City Harbor, working on the DYS facility, architectural works beginning on the rec center at Wilson Morgan and in the Sportsplex. All right, so I recently came across something and it kind of stuck with me, so I wanted to share it with y'all because I think it's applicable to Decatur and where we are with revenues. So in a conversation I recently overheard from Apollo Global Management CEO Mark Rowan, he used the term non-recession recession. Now this term was explained by him perfectly. Since 2008, $8 trillion have been printed. Exactly what you would think would happen happened. Everything went up. Stocks went up, bonds went up, real estate went up, infrastructure went up, cars went up, wine went up. You name it, it went up. So now we are removing that stimulus, and asset prices are coming down. Some of it came in 2022, a little more in 2023, and more to come. Those in the financial markets who live in an asset world are going to feel as though they had a real recession. Couple this with interest rates going up as much as they have, you're going to feel it. But the real question is most of the country going to feel a recession? Most Americans do not own assets in any significant way. 3.5% unemployment, and the mayor shared with me this morning that Decatur is actually the lowest in America from an unemployment standpoint. Job creation still happening here in North Alabama, and wage gains were announced last month. We might have a recession in a formal name, but there is just doubt that this is going to be really a recession we all thought of historically with all these massive shifts in unemployment. This is the definition of a non-recession recession. And I say all this to segue into the revenues performance of the city. You can see in this slide that the 5-year growth we've experienced and are currently experiencing indicates a 7.7% increase in revenues from this point last year. Key performers include our sales and use tax up 5%, gas tax up 20%, lodging tax up 8%. So I used a prior year percentage of completion run rate just to estimate where we potentially could be at the end of FY23, and it's showing to be somewhere in the range of $87.6 million. Compare that to what we budgeted at the beginning of the year, $79 million. We should see a good boost back into the general fund unassigned balance, which is helpful for a lot of the projects that come up with council, the mayor, and other directors. Next slide. Typically in the past, I would show you where we are expenditure-wise from this year to last year, but I just think it was not really a great methodology, being that we're limited to what we can spend anyways. So I just wanted to kind of list everything that we've committed to from the unassigned fund balance in 6 months. It equates to $5.5 million. So kudos to council for making that commitment. And then I tried to lump them all together into the act for categories we use on the financial statements. So some of the bigger projects include Bunny Lane road improvements, the relocation of Judge Horton's house, the Ciota project, HVAC replacement at Princess Theater, the Deerfoot Drainage Project, Church Street resurfacing, and the Public Safety Training Center roof. Next slide. Just a quick highlight on Point Mallard. There's really not a whole lot to kind of talk about at this point. You know, the water park's in the process of opening up here. But really wanted to just highlight the importance of our campground and golf and the other attractions that are part of Point Mallard. They do have some financial impact on the park, and they really kind of keep things, especially campground, keep things going during the off season when the water park is not operating. Just the point, we're nicely up 1% at mid-year from last year, so that's good to hear. Landfill. So I just want to highlight the graph here. It's kind of going up and down, up and down. Had a pretty good conversation with Miss Wanda on Friday, just to kind of talk about some of the reasons. You know, 2022 was really, really good, and we're a little bit down, and, you know, she mentioned we had new customers and whatnot, but I think a lot of the decrease can be contributed to the weather conditions we've experienced in the last couple months. Have been really wet, and that has a huge impact on operations with the landfill. And then you couple that with we're closing a cell, and we've been up here lots with equipment replacements and repairs. It's kind of been, all pun intended, the perfect storm. So we're hopeful that, you know, we've created some efficiencies with some new equipment. We're welcoming some new customers, and obviously we're gonna open a new cell. So we should see the second half of the year be pretty successful. And then lastly, these are just some highlights. If you see the attachment on the resolution, you'll see the line-by-line list of all the adjustments being proposed for mid-year. Tried to kind of, again, summarize all these up into something nice and neat and tidy to present. The total general fund adjustment is 2.5 million, and the landfills is 157,000. And I guess from here, I'd just be open to any questions any of y'all have related to the list.
What was the total general fund?
2,541,000.
1.1 of that is
correct
paving.
Yes, sir.
And 588 is solid waste equipment.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you want to talk about that, I mean, I can kind of give you the summary. I know Daniel's here to go for details, but basically it's new equipment that will kind of support additional operations. And what that will do is kind of expedite the process from the trucks coming from being out, I call it in the field, to the dumping process, and they're having to wait at this point because we have one sort of station. This would create a second one, which would create some efficiencies in us being able to kind of move a lot faster picking up trash.
What do you have percentage year over year for use, sales and use?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, did you say those or did you just give us dollar amount?
7.7 was sales and use, but I have every revenue.
So mid-year, year over year, we're up 7.7 in sales and use.
Correct.
And
sorry, that's incorrect. 7.7 as a total general fund. I think I said, let me find my sheet.
Do we know SSUT?
5% sales and use tax. Yes, it is. Guessing here, 15%.
Increase year over year?
Yeah, so last year we were at 1.3 and we're at 1.5.
And what about lodging?
Lodging, we were up, I think I said 8%. And that's not including the increase in sales tax and then welcoming a new downtown hotel as well.
So lodging revenues 8, general sales 5.
I can send you guys this list of all the revenues, and you guys can take a look.
SSUT. But overall, financially, we're growing.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you happen to know where we were 21 to 22 mid-year sales and use?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
If that's
I'm just trying to see what the trend is. Is it still this, or is there a flattening?
Yeah, so if you're talking like a plateau,
yeah,
no, it's still increasing year over year.
I know
if
it's
you
increasing, but if it was 15
if you look at this page, This will give you the total revenues. I think this is what you're asking. It's not specific
Hold on,
to
let me
sales.
get to your table of contents.
Page 3.
There really is one.
There is. You do use the same picture that we were
No, it's actually a different picture.
work on that.
It's a different picture.
Oh, yeah. Not really.
So these numbers are actually mid-year.
Correct. These
And
are
it-
mid-year
and it's
figures.
everything for general fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm curious on sales and use from
21 to-
But
okay.
that, I can get it later.
Yep.
One interesting thing on unemployment, 1.6%, I think, in Morgan County.
Mhm.
But Alabama is dead last in the country, I think, on workforce participation. So there probably are people that maybe will be coming back to the workforce at some point, which is probably a good thing.
That was what, like 50% or
It's
something?
less than 50.
I was with the
40.
Secretary of Labor Friday evening, and he told me that there are 53,000 Alabamians that are not working.
But could be.
Yes.
All right, any questions for Kyle? Appreciate the information.
Yeah.
Things, I guess from your perspective, finances perspective, positive.
Yeah, I mean, to think about a lot of the things we've committed to, and we've had this conversation when we met as a finance committee, it's nothing to shake a stick at. They're amazing projects. They're big spends for the city, and to be able to actually do those, I think, is great. And at the same time, not be in a position where should there something now, I'm not saying we could go commit to another $50 million project. I mean,
Not until next year.
that seems a little out of reach. But what I'm saying is we still have flexibility to do a lot of great things in the future with seeing a lot of these revenue performances as they're doing. I know I wanted to highlight the national doom and gloom stuff that everybody hears, but it's kind of been a continuing trend. We went through the recession in 2008, the pandemic, and this, and we've really still kind of steadily grown. So just kind of shows the consumer spending indicator and how that matches up with these economic climates.
All right, any other questions? Thanks, Kyle. Resolution 23-136, approve mayor to sign the carrier agreement for Aquadome HVAC.
Yes, Mayor, Council, Jason Lake, Parks and Recreation. This is to replace HVAC units in the party or the breakout rooms at Aquadome.
All right, any questions?
This is just for the agreement. The funding's in the mid-year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, if we could get some of those 53,000 people that wanted to be maintenance people or lifeguards or any of those things at Point Mallard, we're totally open to that. So
Yes.
yes.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 23-137, authorize the mayor to sign contract with Frameworks for event center located at Point Mallard.
This resolution is to get Frameworks to do some of the pieces of the event center, the ones that will need architectural. They'll need the HVAC plans will need to be planned and stamped. The restrooms where the locker rooms currently are, those will be structurally changed, so they would need an architect to do those. The cement pad will need, it'll have to have an architect do it to bid it out.
I assume there'll be just some general upgrades inside that. I mean, there's gonna have to be, I guess.
Right.
So.
Right, and most of the things that are in this are, like I say, they're just the structural parts of it. The overall upgrades, a lot of those are just skin deep, so you don't necessarily need to have those planned out. You just,
What, not to put you on the spot, we removed some landscaping on the side. What's going on out there by the ice rink? Do you know?
up and down the,
Yeah.
well, part of that's that clearing.
No, not the clearing's awesome.
Right.
I'm curious what if they removed some crepe myrtles maybe on the side of the ice rink.
They did. Those, when those were put in, they were put in too close to the building. There was already some buckling there, so we just went ahead. When we if you go in there now, they've already taken some of the walls down that were around the rink. They've already started putting up some of the, trying to get a jump start on it. And may as well let them cut those down while they're out there too.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Cut it down, mow it down, whatever.
Bulldoze it.
Bulldoze it. All right, any questions?
Big bulldoze guy.
Resolution 23-138, hey, that's what we're doing on the trails with bulldozers. Resolution 23-138, declare surplus of items no longer needed by Parks and Rec.
Generally, these are the items that are in the ice rink. So these are say the walls that go around the rink, the flooring. Some of that flooring is not that old, so it can be resold. The compressors, all those things. So try to get those things on Gov Deals and see if we can't make a little money off of them.
The stones that.
Those will definitely be on that list.
Good. We need to public announce those things.
Yeah.
He's talking about the curling stones.
He's old-handed too.
Ordinance 23-4556, approval of duplicated street McClellan Drive Southeast to be changed to Emma Drive Southeast.
Yes, that's already been introduced. It basically had a duplication from the Foxwood subdivision, so it's just changing, so we don't have a duplication.
We meet for 2 weeks.
All right, we have our council meeting next week is 9:30 work session, 10 o'clock council meeting. And just so everyone's aware, we will not have a meeting the 22nd, and we do not have a work session on the 29th. We're moving the work session for the 29th to an hour before the actual council meeting. So we'll have no meetings at all the 22nd or the 29th.
Oh, wow.
Anyone have anything from City Hall group? Oh yeah, I forgot. Herman's got a couple of items.
Thank you. One item is DYS, they're occupying a portion of a structure. They want to occupy the other portion. So we'd ask that we could add that additional lease to the next agenda, May the 15th. It's, of course, the same landowner.
So DYS move out of the Aquadome into that other building?
The other half of where the boxing is, yes.
Why?
I can speak to some of that. One is we're gonna have to replace HVAC there. And we know we're gonna give up ownership of that building. But the other is there's still continued, I think, concern with the staff there about working in that building. And they think there can be some, I guess, more efficiency being in one building with offices they already have in the boxing arena.
Have any of your staff complained about?
I would say if there was not gonna be, this is just my opinion, but if we weren't gonna have to replace the HVAC, probably wouldn't go down this road, but since we were gonna have to anyway, it kind of made sense with all things considered to at least consider moving them.
I'll remind the resolution that we removed for 50,000, that would have been the one that we had.
Yeah.
So it was much higher, it was twice as high as what we
Right.
So we removed a $50,000, but I guess my concern is we've got the Aqua, we've got to maintain it until the new rec center's done. Because I've had a lot of concerns from people using the pool and different rooms in it going, well, hey, are y'all gonna fix this or are y'all just gonna let it fall in on itself? What's the right answer
Well,
there?
right, that's different than an HVAC in one area that we could move that staff. We won't have to, it won't affect the rest of the building.
I think the correct answer to that is we will maintain the building to the standards we have up to this point.
Well, that's what I was hoping to
But a
do.
big section won't even be used at all.
Correct, because the DYS section, of course, that with them moving their programming for it to be more efficient, that's something that would lead to the parks that are included with as far as therapeutics, aquatics, those things. We'll do those all the same. Now, we do have to deal with the heater for the pool that we've discussed, but it is in mid-year.
Right.
We will get it put in, and it will be operational
So there was the HVAC for the DYS section was 50,000. What's the lease per year?
We
It's the
estimate,
same as the other side.
we estimate, updates of 22,000, and then the rent for the rest of this year is $2,250 per month.
So we're talking about doing that for 3 years.
Well, it's
So
actually,
we're talking about investing more into moving them than we would into just fixing the.
With
Fixing the
the
HVAC.
conversation of pretty much several, if not all employees have asked to move. Which that's the decision of the council is, and we'll make that decision next week, is if it's worth the cost with all those factors together, including staff that has been asking to move. Now,
One thing that will also help is not to interrupt.
no.
But
Please, folks there.
one thing that will really help is when TC Almond does come down for next operating season, this will give more space at Aquadome to be able to do some of the things that we were doing at TC Almond.
But then wouldn't we have to fix the HVAC in that section again if we're gonna move programming over
Not
there?
with the resolution that you heard tonight, with putting the split units in the rooms, that'll.
Okay, so you'd split unit, okay.
But I think you have valid, obviously the cost is probably more, but all things considered, it's more than just the
Well,
HVAC
There'll be
is the
some
cost.
cost savings too with, potentially with fiber not being used over in, the Aquadome. And then there's been conversations about, storing files with planning, and I believe maybe legal, I may make that up, but someone else, needing to purchase like rent out storage units to store these documents we have to keep forever. We talked about using that in the meantime. to save
Okay,
some costs
well,
there.
I guess fundamentally, looking at it from a cost standpoint, this is obviously not budgeted to move facilities. And furthermore, we're gonna,
Well, neither with the HVAC.
well, I mean, I get that, but that's just cost of ownership. We don't budget for that. It's one of those things where, with me, it's like, we're gonna go into somebody else's facility, and we know we're gonna pay to improve it. I mean, it's a triple net lease. If something goes out, we fix it. We're paying to maintain and improve somebody else's facility. Now, granted, it is kind of a catch-22 with the Aquadome. We know it's coming down.
Well, it actually won't even be our facility either.
Yeah, well, that's true. But it is until we bulldoze it, or it is until we move into the new one. So, while it is our facility, I just want to make sure that the groups who are using it now are able to continue to use it. I've just gotten a lot of phone calls about that.
I think those are all valid concerns, but I do think it's something we need to consider next week, so I'm fine with putting it on the
thank you.
agenda.
One other item, this particular lease ends January 1st, 2025, but there is a provision in there that we can go month to month after that. Okay, at the same
rate.
Same rate.
Didn't you have something else?
Yes, it did.
Okay, go ahead.
American Cruise Line, we're almost there with getting that agreement in place. We ask that you add that also. It's an additional cruise line. They will bring more scheduled trips to Decatur.
Is it
Like,
14?
What did you say, more like
13 to 14, yeah.
14.
So we asked you to add that to us, just that, they've sent back a proposal, and I think we're close, so I guess.
They have a bus that follows them, takes the passengers and
Right.
drops them off at various points downtown.
I can say it's great for downtown. I mean, we
Yes,
see them
it-
come in the store.
Everything we vote on is great for downtown. Not bad.
He's on top of it tonight, folks.
No, that's fine to add, but
Thank you.
anything else we need to add? Anything else from you guys, or you guys? Mayor?
The only thing I'd like to say is congratulations to Councilman Pike and Patricia.
Thank you.
The birth of Palmer Lillian. I trust mom and baby are well.
They're doing good. We're trying to figure out days and nights right now, but we'll get there. So everybody's
Very
doing good. Thank you.
Here to that. Agree.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, anything else from council? All right, that was fun. We're adjourned.